Lewis Hamilton's recent statement about still loving racing, despite setbacks, came as both reassurance and revelation. After a challenging run with Ferrari and a wave of criticism labeling his efforts useless, the seven-time world champion made it clear: his passion remains untouched. For a driver who built his career on resilience, these words were more than damage control. They were a reminder of what keeps him going. The Silverstone Grand Prix had exposed cracks. Ferrari's car underperformed, strategic calls failed, and Hamilton's frustration simmered beneath the surface. Yet when asked if his drive was fading, Hamilton's response was firm. He still loves the craft. The statement silenced rumors about retirement, refocused narratives, and reignited discussion around what drives a legend through hardship. As Ferrari faces scrutiny, Hamilton's presence offers both pressure and promise. He knows the road ahead isn't paved with guarantees, but it's one he's still willing to race down. The declaration wasn't about performance, it was about purpose. And that purpose, according to Hamilton, hasn't changed. Ferrari entered the 2025 season with high expectations. The arrival of Lewis Hamilton symbolized a new era, a fusion of elite talent and Italian racing heritage. Yet reality has been harsher than the dream. Inconsistent race pace, poor tire management, and a string of strategic missteps have defined their season. At circuits like Hungary and Spain, Ferrari's weaknesses were brutally exposed. Hamilton, despite his brilliance, could not overcome the car's limitations. Critics were quick to blame both driver and team, but internal sources suggest deeper issues in car development and communication. Ferrari's struggles are not new, but with Hamilton on board, they are magnified. His presence demands results. The contrast between his professionalism and the team's execution has created tension. For Hamilton, used to Mercedes' structured efficiency, adapting to Ferrari's volatile setup has been jarring. But the challenge hasn't broken him. Instead, it has clarified the gap between potential and execution. And while the disappointment is real, Hamilton's refusal to accept defeat is what keeps the fight alive, within himself and within the team. Following the Silverstone GP, criticism intensified. Pundits and former drivers questioned Hamilton's relevance, with some going so far as to label his performance useless. It was a striking word, one that cut deep. For a driver with Hamilton's accolades, the sting was real. But what those headlines missed was context. The car was off pace. The team fumbled strategy. And Hamilton, despite limited tools, still outqualified and outraced expectations in moments that numbers don't fully reflect. The media's tone echoed the pressures that come with legacy. When you're a seven-time world champion, anything less than a podium invites scrutiny. Hamilton addressed the remarks calmly. In interviews, he didn't lash out. Instead, he doubled down on his love for racing and his belief in long-term progress. His silence on specifics was strategic. He chose not to feed the frenzy. This approach highlighted his maturity, weathered by decades in the spotlight, yet still able to shield his focus. The backlash may have been loud, but Hamilton's composure was louder. Internally, Ferrari is not ignoring the pressure. Team principal Frédéric Vasseur has faced hard questions, and while public statements remain diplomatic, sources indicate mounting tension. Hamilton's arrival brought not only global attention, but also an expectation of structural change. Behind the scenes, meetings have intensified. Data analysis is scrutinized more than ever. Engineers are being reshuffled, yet progress remains slow. Ferrari's issues are not isolated. They are systemic. Decades of near misses and cultural rigidity are not easily erased. Still, Hamilton's influence is growing. His debriefs are described as detailed and relentless. His requests are not demands, but expectations born from experience. Vasseur recognizes the value of Hamilton's presence, but must also balance it with internal dynamics, especially with Charles Leclerc still a central figure. The challenge is to harmonize two racing philosophies, British precision and Italian passion. Ferrari is learning that signing a champion is only the first step. Listening to him, adapting around him, and trusting his process is where transformation begins. If there's one area where Hamilton has always excelled beyond rivals, it's mindset. Through championship wins and political storms, he's remained grounded. In 2025, that psychological armor is being tested again. The Ferrari chapter is unlike anything he's faced before. New car, new team, new expectations. And while results have lagged, his mental approach hasn't wavered. He's recentered his motivation not around titles, but legacy. Racing now is about proving that age, circumstance, or change of scenery cannot define him. Behind the visor is a driver who still visualizes the perfect lap, studies his data late into the night, and isolates pressure into focus. The external noise, critics, fans, media, has been with him for 2 decades. He filters it, focuses only on what can be improved. This mental discipline keeps him sharp, even as Ferrari struggles. Hamilton doesn't chase narratives. He crafts his own. And in doing so, he continues to teach the sport something vital. That greatness isn't just about pace, but presence. Coexisting with Charles Leclerc inside Ferrari has created one of the sport's most intense driver pairings. Leclerc, younger and deeply embedded in Ferrari's system, has always been seen as the future. Hamilton, the proven champion, represents experience and a different kind of pressure. The dynamic between them is professional, yet undeniably competitive. Leclerc's performances, particularly in qualifying, continue to set benchmarks, but Hamilton's racecraft, consistency, and tire management often allow him to claw back results in ways only experience can teach. This silent battle pushes both drivers, and Ferrari, caught in the middle, must navigate a delicate balance, honoring its commitment to Leclerc while leveraging Hamilton's expertise. Behind closed doors, their feedback often aligns, but their approaches diverge. Leclerc is instinctive and aggressive. Hamilton is strategic and methodical. This tension is healthy when managed, but risky if ignored. Ferrari's challenge is to create an environment where both can thrive. Because if harnessed correctly, this partnership could become the most powerful combination the team has seen in years. Despite hopes that Hamilton's feedback would fast-track development, Ferrari's technical issues remain persistent. Aerodynamic inconsistencies, unreliable tire windows, and mid-race balance shifts have plagued performance across multiple tracks. Engineers have implemented changes, but the car's adaptability remains limited. This has forced both drivers to compensate with skill rather than machinery. Hamilton's driving style, particularly smooth under braking and consistent through corners, should align well with Ferrari's philosophy. But without a stable platform, extracting maximum pace is difficult. The team has tried various upgrade packages, some of which have delivered marginal gains. However, the underlying issue appears deeper. Perhaps a design philosophy misaligned with modern race conditions. Hamilton's role is now pivotal. His feedback is driving the next development cycle. He's pushing for a more predictable chassis, improved tire understanding, and a simplified aero approach. Whether Ferrari delivers on that feedback will define the remainder of this season. Because while talent sees and compensate, it cannot substitute for raw performance. While Hamilton settles into life at Ferrari, his former team Mercedes continues to watch closely. The split was mutual, but emotions still linger. Toto Wolff, ever calculated, has avoided inflammatory remarks, but insiders suggest the team is quietly tracking Hamilton's progress. Their concern is twofold: evaluating if they made the right call and preparing for a potential resurgence should Ferrari solve its issues. Mercedes has its own development struggles, But the idea of Hamilton returning to contention in red adds pressure. George Russell, now the team's lead driver, has embraced the role, but the legacy Hamilton left behind still echoes in the garage. The decision to part ways wasn't just about performance, it was about future vision. Hamilton believed in Ferrari's potential. Mercedes bet on transition. Time will decide who judged better. But one thing is certain: Hamilton's story is far from over. And Mercedes knows that if he finds form, he becomes a rival with intimate knowledge of their strengths and weaknesses. Looking forward, the second half of the season is critical for both Hamilton and Ferrari. With regulation changes looming in 2026, every race now is a testbed for development strategy. Hamilton knows this. His patience isn't infinite, but his mindset is long-term. He's not chasing every podium, he's building a foundation. Ferrari, under pressure, must demonstrate adaptability. The technical team must learn from mistakes, execute clean weekends, and begin to show signs that Hamilton's feedback is translating into tangible gains. It's also a matter of morale. The team cannot afford to slip into doubt. Hamilton's experience offers a roadmap out of crisis, but only if the team listens. The calendar presents opportunities, tracks where Ferrari's package could work. If results follow, momentum may shift. But if struggles persist, the scrutiny will intensify. Still, Hamilton's message remains consistent. He loves racing. That truth will be the compass guiding every decision, every lap, and every step forward from here. Hamilton's declaration that he still loves racing is more than emotional reassurance. It's a statement of purpose. Amid doubt, criticism, and transition, he reaffirms the essence of his identity. This love has driven him through eras, rivals, and reinventions. Now, it drives him through Ferrari's storm. His journey with the Scuderia is not defined by instant success, but by his willingness to rebuild. He doesn't seek nostalgia. He seeks meaning in the next chapter. What's at stake isn't just results, but legacy. The ability to influence a legendary team, shape its future, and finish a career not by fading, but by transforming. Hamilton knows the risks. He knows the critics will wait. But he also knows that greatness often begins where comfort ends. Every challenge at Ferrari is a test of resilience, leadership, and belief. And through it all, one thing remains unchanged: his love for the sport. It's not fading, it's evolving. And that evolution is exactly what keeps the fire burning.